Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike and this is Open Mic Workshop, where we learn to make noise that is borderline listenable. As you could tell right there, that microphone was way too far away so no one would really understand what you were saying. Clearly anyway. Today we're talking about microphones. You know, those instruments that make you sound like either a rock god or a Charlie Brown teacher. There are two main types of microphones that you'll find in a home studio. And the difference is like night and day. And the two types of microphones, you have a dynamic mic, like this one, and you also have a condenser mic. First, the dynamic mic. This is your workhorse. You can take it on the road, you can be rough with it. You could probably drop this thing out of a second floor window and pick it right up and start recording. It's great for live performances, loud guitar cabinets, and anyone whose recording space sounds like a public bathroom. It only picks up what is right in front of it, and it rejects all the ambient noise, like your HVAC system, your air conditioner, the hum of your refrigerator, your spouse yelling about taking out the trash. It's a very focused microphone. Then we have the condenser microphone. This is the Diva. The Diva requires a very quiet room, its own phantom power, it's just a fancy term for electricity, and a gentle touch. Condensers are super sensitive. They hear everything. They're fantastic for vocals, for acoustic guitars, and bringing out the sparkle in your mix. If you have a decent room that's quiet, this is the mic for you. If you have a little more noise, you might want to go with a dynamic mic. One thing to keep in mind, if you're using a condenser mic and you're hearing the next door neighbor's dog barking, that's not a microphone problem. That's a room problem. Now, technique. Based on some of the audio I've been hearing online, this apparently needs some discussion. You do not want to get too close to the microphone. I have a pop filter on. Let's just take off the pop filter and get real close. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Don't eat the mic. You're here to record music, not eat your lunch. That's how you get the mud and distortion. The sweet spot is usually around 6 to 12 inches away from the mic, enough for your breath and everything to move freely, but still for the microphone to pick up all the sound. And you definitely need a pop filter. It's the cheapest piece of equipment you'll own, but it makes a really big difference. It stops those nasty P and B sounds, which are called plosives, from just ruining your track. They hit the mic like a sonic boom, and it's just not pleasant. Okay, so you've recorded your vocals, and maybe they were a little harsh, a little muddy. That's where the power of the DAW, or cheating, comes into play. We use plugins. Okay, here we are inside of Cakewalk, the DAW that we use. The free DAW. You can watch another video on all my feelings about Cakewalk. Anywho, here is a track. I've just isolated one vocal track from another song, and I put it here just so we can talk about, what some of the vocals look like when they're recorded. How can you fine-tune them? It's a little bit like cheating, but it's not. It's just using plugins. So we have the raw audio here. And if you listen to the raw audio, I made a mistake, a cardinal sin that I don't like to make, but I did. I recorded my audio with reverb. So you want to be very careful when you record your audio to not record it with any effects. Add them later or in post, as those in the know say. So just add it after the fact, record it clean, And then I didn't do that, and you'll hear that initially. So this is not great vocals. I'm not trying to show off my vocal skills here. I'm just pulling out a section of an audio, and it's in a larger song, and it actually sounds pretty good. I'll probably publish this one, but or distribute this one. But I just wanted you to hear it and how these plugins can affect the sound. So you'll hear it
Puff
here.
the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
Yeah, I think we all know that song. But anyway, there was some reverb, as you can hear. And now let me go ahead and try this again, and I will add some more reverb. So we just use this one that came with the software. It's called Reverb. So we like this one. This is a good one. So I just power it on here. And now there's different levels. There's a wet level, a time level. There's multiple factors here for this plugin for reverb. Obviously, it dials all in the middle. There's lots of controls here. We only focus on two primarily. And you'll hear what happens as I change these. The reverb changes.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Oh.
Anywho, so you heard the reverb go up and down, up and down. So wet level will make it really, it just really increases the reverb. You have that on, you heard it as I went higher or deeper into the negatives. It was really wet, and it was just in this giant cavern. It just gets really obnoxious. And the time is the duration of the reverb. So how long does it linger after the sound is made? So we usually go down here. If not 600 is usually, it's just milliseconds here. So 6, 7, something lower. If you do it longer, again, even if the wet level is, lower. Um, sorry, I'm thinking backwards here. I know my number lines. Um, this is what level uh, 12. Let's get down to 0. There's wet level 0. So here's wet. This is a wet sound. And you heard it, and I made it even wetter. I drowned it, and it sounded really bad. So you want to keep it low. If you're going to use reverb, I usually use somewhere around here, and then the time is usually low. So it's up to you, but we do like to add a little bit of reverb to most songs. It seems to fit most. Not all, but most. All right, that's the first plugin, reverb. Simple. Next, we'll look at an equalizer. And there's two options. There's two options we use, but there's hundreds, if not thousands, of equalizer apps out there. Some are very simple, some are a lot more complex. I haven't learned all the ins and outs of all of these plugins, just the ones that I've found to be helpful. So let's try this one here. It's KHS. It's a simplistic one, but it's pretty effective, to be honest. Let's open this one up. And what I'll do is I'll play the song and I'll make the changes and you'll hear them. So I've already been making changes. So anyway, zeros is where it always begins with an equalizer. It starts in the middle or at 0. So let's see if I can get it there. Close enough. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between 0.02. If you do, I'm so impressed. All right, close enough. Now let's listen to it, and I'll make changes, and you can hear as I move the high up. And this song sounds a little muddy. If you heard the audio, it was a little on the bass side, real muddy. So I want to clean it up a little, make it clearer. I tend to drift more towards the higher side for vocals, usually. Some songs require a nice low, raspy sound. This song doesn't. It's a folk song. So let's adjust, and you'll hear the changes.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff.
All right. So you notice the highs went up as I moved the high. I mean, it's pretty intuitive. This one is really like it. It's just three knobs, go nuts. I can't recall if there's any presets. No, none that I saved. No, but you can save your own presets if you like this one. You're like, hey, this is clearing up mud. You know, whatever you want to call it. You can name these. But anywho, that's one plugin for Equalizer. Let's try another one. It's a little more complex, a little more graphical. I'll do the same thing.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff.
Anyway, you know. So you could hear again, it just moves the highs up, but this has more of a curve. You can see the curvature better. You have more control. It's much more fluidity. You can control the different ranges within low, medium, and high. So there's much more control here, basically. So you can go as simple as you want, the first one, which I kind of like, or you can use this one. It's more complex. There's a lot more to it. How the curves show, if you're familiar with that, you can display. There's lots of settings here. But anyway, this is a way to use an equalizer to basically take a muddy sound that was full of reverb, add some high, reduce the low, and you're not really making it high and tinny because it was so muddy to begin with. You're bringing it back to a normal equalized sound. And that's the whole goal of an equalizer, hence the name. Okay. That's just the simple things. Reverb, usually on every song. Equalizer, you want to make sure it sounds like it's not underwater, not muddy. And if it's too high pitch, if it's too crisp and it's just too much, again, you want to add low, add medium. So, or mid. All right, now let's talk about a DeEsser. So you heard me talking or singing, and there's a bunch of S's, and they sound pretty loud. So let's hear what a DeEsser does to a song. Here we go.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper.
Okay. Things about these plugins, I was moving things up and down and no sound change was making this because I didn't activate it. So you have to activate it. And now it's going to actually have an impact.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff.
So there's a lot of S's in that little section. Let's try it with and without, and hopefully you can hear the difference. Just here, I'll power it off, so it'll be the original.
And other fancy stuff.
Okay, and we'll try it with the DeEsser on.
And other fancy stuff.
Now you can hear what it's doing. You're not going to hear it as much because you'll have all of the instruments playing at the same time. But it's not only suppressing the S sound. This threshold is just a particular, it's looking for the S sound. And it's trying to mute it, trying to reduce it so it's not as impactful to the overall sound. But occasionally it takes out other sound as well. So you don't want to over adjust. So I usually find where it cuts out other words. I just want to focus on the S's. And then I start there and I move up as much as I can till it's the most tolerable. Some people don't mind the S's in their songs. I like to tamp it down a bit because it can get a little jumpy from all the S's. Anyway, there's just some. There are so many, and I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about all these different plugins that you can use, but just wanted to show you vocals. Simply, you record a track, you listen to it, and you think about What changes do I need to make to not only make this sound better, but to make it sound in line with the entire song? So, like I said, plenty more demos on plugins and everything to come, but just want to talk a bit about vocals, recording vocals, and how to use these mics properly. So, in summary, use a dynamic mic if your studio is noisy. Use a condenser mic if you can keep it quiet. Always use a pop filter, and don't eat the microphone. It's not hyper complicated. A clear signal in means an easier mix later. Stop sounding like you recorded your track on a cassette tape in 1988. Upgrade your sound, even if you can't upgrade your talent. If you want to see how we apply these concepts to an actual project, make sure you subscribe. We're going to do that very soon. It's going to be a new video series. We're either going to do Bad Moon Rising or something by Green Day. We just haven't quite decided yet. So remember, it's 3 videos a week. 1 instructional video such as this, and then 2 music videos. The next music video to show improvement, kind of an older rehab video that's not ever going to be distributed by me anyway, is Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Yeah, by Poison. And then the actual song that's been produced and released is going to be The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. So just a couple of cool songs coming down the pipe, and my music tastes are all over the place, by the way, so don't expect a specific genre. It'll just be rock in general. Early 60s all the way through, not really current day, but probably 2000s. All right, with that, we will talk to you next time, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Every rose has its thorn, just like every night has its dawn, just like every cowboy sings a sad song. Every rose has its thorn.